All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So today we're doing something a little bit different. We're talking about Palworld. I have seen this game around quite a lot, and I have been playing it quite a lot. And I kind of came to the realization that no one was making like a real full guide to the actual start of the game. So that is what we're going to be doing today. First and foremost, just to jump in here real quick, I have like tested this, so I know that everything I'm about to tell you is going to work. Also, you'll notice there's only like a level 16 world here. What's up with that? My partner has our main save where I'm like level 30 something or other, and we have working on our third base and so on and so forth. So I have gone through the progression quite a bit, and this is going to be getting through the early stuff efficiently. Before we get into that, we're going to make a new island, and we're going to talk about the settings because there are quite a few. We will just be playing on the normal difficulty. Everything's just going to be as you see it here, but I do want to call out that if you don't like any of the things in this game, like if you're like, I don't like the hunger mechanic, or, you know, you want more XP or whatever, that's all stuff you can change and make better for yourself, and you can change all this stuff after you have created your world if you just end up not wanting some aspect of the game that's available here. There's a lot that you can change, some of the very helpful ones being like the no death running, if you just don't like that aspect. But yeah, there's lots of stuff you can do here, but I'm just going to keep everything on normal so that, you know, you can see what you're usually going to experience. Also, I would not suggest hard because really all hard mode does is make you do half damage and make everything else deal four times damage to you, which I will say makes basically all of like the defensive upgrades totally meaningless across the whole game. And also you'll just get less XP and it'll be harder to catch things. And that's really the only changes between normal and hard, which more so I think makes the game annoying rather than actually difficult. But yeah, with that, we're just going to be playing on normal, fresh save, and going through the whole game. There will be cuts and stuff, as I'm not going to show you like me cutting down every tree I'm going to cut down. But yeah, in terms of character creation, just to go over it real quick, I'm just going to put a test on this so I know to delete this, whatever. In terms of character creation, this is only visual. Obviously, it says here you'll be able to re-edit this later, but no matter what you do here, it's only a visual change, so we're just going to go with the default character. You're not going to get any stats or anything in this menu. Purely visual. So just jumping in immediately. We have our opening cutscene, which I'm just going to skip. That gives you just like a little bit of basic stuff. And then we're going to start on our tutorial. So right off the bat, we want to jump out here and grab our first fast travel point. We're going to be grabbing quite a few of these and hitting some important locations. Also, talking to this character who's always at the beginning here, we'll give you some wood to start, which is very nice as we're going to need to build our primitive workbench. Also, pickups. You're going to want to pick up every little thing you see on the ground, and continuing to do that is going to be a big thing that we are going to be upgrading as we get further and for our first few levels, but we'll get there once we start leveling up, which we just have now. So in terms of that, we have our stats. To go over our stats very quickly, the important ones are HP, weight, and stamina. HP, weight, and stamina are the stats you level. Do not level attack, defense, or work speed. They are all not worth it. Work speed, some people might say, is like worth it early, and you could take 2 levels of this if you really want to, but by and large, it's going to do absolutely nothing for you, and you will probably regret it whenever you reach much higher levels. I know I certainly have. So, for our early levels, we want to take just weight, because we want to be able to carry all the things that we need to carry, and we're going to need to carry a lot. And we're going to focus on just weight and stamina. If you wanted a really easy way to do this for your first 10 levels, you just want to take weight and then stamina and then weight and then stamina. And just do that back and forth. I'm going to take more weight up front, but it doesn't super matter what order you do it in. As long as you are not leveling attack, defense, or work speed, you're going to be okay. But HP, I would say, is the thing you could save for a few higher levels because we are going to start getting armor and such, which is going to bulk up our HP on the front end there, and you're just going to want it later. So building the bench, and then just in our menus real quick, we do want to note the survival guide. So there are, you know, some control tips here and a few different things. You can find like the elements in terms of weakness chart here. So that's also very useful. And then we need to talk about the technology screens. This is where you're going to get new stuff for you to craft. They give you enough technology points, which you see down here in the bottom left, to get all of these things on tier 2. And you're going to want every single one of these, so there's no reason not to grab them all. I will, of course, be going over specifically what to grab, but in this case, you want this entire tier. You're going to end up building every single thing here and using all of them a ton. So then with that, we need to craft a Palsphere. Before that, you should craft your stone pickaxe and your stone axe because you're just going to need them. Crafting the pickaxe first is going to make it easier to get stone, but in terms of picking things up, using your fist is really slow, so just try and grab stuff off the ground. And then over here, we also see a blue on the ground, which these are, in this case, it's a sphere, but that can also just be the fragments in order to make spheres. And you also want to grab the berries that spawn here at the start as well, because you will need them. Yeah, basically mashing F everywhere you go in the starter area to pick up all of the extra wood and stone and fragments is going to be just basically absolutely necessary. And then to start here, just crafting our stone pickaxe. This will automatically equip. And then if we don't have enough for the axe, which in this case we do have enough for it, but we also have the rock that's pretty much always right here or a little bit to the right in order to grab that if we need it. So yeah, and then we just need to grab a paldium fragment and some stone, and we have enough for our first pal ball otherwise. So if you are mining one of these nodes, occasionally you will get paldium from it, which you'll see me get right there. So you can get your first paldium here pretty much always. Normally, it's better to find an actual paldium deposit, but in this case, just because we're plowing through the tutorial at great speeds, we will just grab that here to move that on through. And then we just need to get some more stone here because we will need more. And then we are going to give us a few fragments here. All right. Enhance our stats. More weight for now because we will absolutely need it. And then we can just move on down here. So moving on into this little clearing, this is the area that I would really suggest for your base. Also, with our first pal ball, we want to catch a Kativa, which, since it's on the way, we might as well mention it now. The Kativa is the best for your base early on. You want 2 of them because they are going to be extremely helpful. And if you can see level 1 ones, you won't have to weaken them nearly as much. This one also has Motivational Leader, which is not bad. So we see another one of those, we are going to want to pick it up. And you can see in the top right for our tutorial, we need to build the pal box in an open space. And they do mean that very literally. This area, like I said, is a very good start. But you do need to be a little particular with where you place your pal box because it determines the size of your base and also the shape of your base. We will need a little bit more wood, though, in order to be able to show this off. Okay, now we can show it. So this is the pal box. And if you see, it's kind of hard to see from here. There's like a line that you can see moving in the background there. But if you place this without even building it, you can actually run out and see what your actual base circle looks like. That is this like faint line you see here. It is a circle, so it'll go up there as well. And you can see exactly what this covers. For your first base, you basically want to push this line to the edge of the kind of usable area here. So you want it to run along the side of the water here, but not go so far as to cover these because you'll want to mine these yourself. Because pals won't mine these. You want these just outside the base, and that'll give you a really good circular area to start with that has plenty of trees and plenty of spawning rocks for you to start out with for some of your early pals to farm on. So we want to move this one. You can just cancel this. Anything that you deconstruct will just give you all of its materials back, so you never have to worry about wasting anything, which is really nice. We just want to get the circle pretty much perfect. Doesn't have to be exactly, but it's hard to move a base later, so about here is right. Moving a base later can be a huge pain, so you want to make sure that it's in a pretty good spot to start. Otherwise, you might end up regretting it. So with that, we have to access the pal box. I want to pal to our base so the Kativa that we caught can get to work. So Kativas are really nice because if we look at their stats here, you can see that they have handiwork, gathering, mining, and transporting. What those mean is transporting means it will organize stuff that's on the ground and it will put it into boxes for you, which is fantastic because it mines out things that are around. Mines out rocks, gets you material, puts it in boxes so you can craft it without needing to go get that stuff yourself. Gathering means it's going to go pick up the berries that spawn in this area as well, so that you'll have food at the beginning. And handiwork means it's going to help you craft things, which means as you put down different objects that you're going to expand your base with, it will help you make them, or it will make them entirely on its own, so you can set things and just walk away and expect them to be done whenever you get back to base, which is so useful and why we're going to want 2 of them. So with that, that means we're also going to be focusing a lot on our base level ups. In this case, we need to build a wooden chest, which we have right here, and we just need a little bit more wood for. And also trees and rocks, as I think I mentioned before, they do respawn, so you don't really have to worry about it very much. Also, you can see the Kativa, whenever I put this down, it immediately runs over and begins to work on this. And while it's doing that, I'm going to pick up all the rocks that it has already mined out for us, which includes a little bit of pallium. Yeah, that is extremely helpful, and we have 1 pal ball, so I'm actually going to get another Kativa here to also add to the base so it can help. You do want to make sure you are unequipping your tools at the very, very beginning, Also, we got a workaholic. So that's also worth noting here is if you look at the stats, workaholic is sanity drops 15% slower. Work speed and stuff like this makes the sanity better. Is really, really nice for workers that are going to be on your base. Because it's just going to make everything easier to manage. So leveling this up gives us one more pal that's able to work on the base, and we need to build a primitive workbench and a shoddy bed. So for that, though, we are, of course, going to add this Kativa here onto the base so it can run around and help. And we are going to put our stone and our wood in here, along with the Pallium fragments, just to drop some of the weight off of us. And then we need to check out our technology tree, because we're level 3 now, which means we can get the shoddy bed. The straw pal bed, which we're also very much going to need. Cloth, which is going to be important soon. Then we're also going to want the bow and arrow. The repair kit, I don't think is very useful. And you can just go get this later if you need it. But the rest of these, I would say, are going to be absolutely required. Because, especially right now, our pals are going to want beds and such. But we can focus on our primitive workbench and shoddy bed first. Because we do need a workbench here, because we're going to be here quite a lot, considering it's our base. It does need to be a small distance away from this. And then as for the shoddy bed, I might need to chop down this tree over here. But we are going to build a very basic construction for our bed, as you don't really need to build like a house. Though you could here if you really wanted to make it, you know, a big old house or whatever made out of wood, as it's relatively easy to do so. Okay, we can just take this that we have made and then check out this menu. We're going to want to start with foundation. Just a single foundation is going to be fine. You can also raise this a little bit if you feel like it, but we're just going to put ours flat on the ground. And then just one wall, one roof over our head because it is required. And then we can build the shoddy bed once we have a single wool, which we will get from one of the lambs around here. As long as one has spawned. Oh, there's one in the distance there. Okay, the unused stat points, we are going to just bump up stamina as we are going to start running around a bit more. But those first 2 levels really should be stamina. Okay, we'll have to kill this lamb. You do want to try and catch as much as you can early on. I think I see a pal ball over here, which might mean I should go do that. There's just a pal ball on the ground, and these guys are attacking me, so no real reason not to grab this and then just put the lamb in it. Should be low enough that this is 100%. That'll give us a good little boost to experience instead of having to waste it. And that'll also give us the wool that we need for our bed. The lamb balls are also not bad to have in your team, though they are, I think, just worse than Kativa. Outside, of course, you can harvest them for wool. We can just slam this in here. The Kativa are going to come over here and help us work on this. You can see the work speed is like 20 seconds on this. Whenever the Kativas get here, it's going to speed that up considerably. Get much faster, even with just one helping us. So now we can sleep. If it becomes night, we can just, you know, get out of that. And then bumping this up to level 3, we need to build a feed box and the straw pal bed. So we are going to need more wood. Okay, so there's 40 wood. And then, as we saw before, we need the straw pal bed and the feed box. The feed box, I think we need to unlock here first because it was the higher level. We'll also want to grab our cloth outfit here and common shield, which are going to be pretty much required. And then as for the feed, you want to put this in a spot that you're going to put like your crops and where those are going to be. So generally this area is pretty good, though you could really organize this any way you really want to. But putting the feed there, because we're about to expand out into berry plantations, is going to be quite good. And speaking of berries, if in here you see that there are some berries, we can put all the stuff that we had in our pockets away, though. Once they are done with the feed box, we are going to want to kind of dump half our berries into this so that they do have some food while we're running around. Because if they don't get fed, obviously, bad things begin to happen. But yeah, so then other than that, we just need the 3 straw pal beds. So for that, we should have enough material. We have enough for 4. Oh, no, we have enough exactly for 3. So over here, we'll just slap these down kind of like right on the edge, just trying to make efficient use of these. You can also right-click whenever you build stuff in order to keep being able to place the same item over and over. I'm just going to let the Kativas build those. And then at this point, we have some like berries, and they're going to bring the berries over to this and all that good business. So in order to speed this up a little bit, I'm just going to go cut down like a bunch of trees and also build the repair bench that I'm going to need because I'm going to go cut down so many trees. And then we're going to fast forward. I'm just going to grab like 100 wood so I don't have to show you chopping show you me chopping every single tree I see down. Okay, welcome back. I've gathered just a bit of wood and a good chunk of stone. Less stone because my Kativa are going to be taking care of a lot of that, and also some of our starting Paldium fragments also have come from the bit of stone that mostly, honestly, the Kativa have collected here. But I grabbed 200 wood just to speed things up, and that's mostly just like cutting down the trees you saw here, which you'll also see respawning as we come back to the base. Because if you don't build anything over there, then they'll respawn. For the recipes that we're going to be building, we are, of course, going to want a bunch of Palspheres. So we want at least 10 of these to start off here. Also, one of the things that's nice about having Kativa in the base, once again, is that they will come over and help you craft these. You can also have one, if you have, like, even like the land ball that I have in my pocket here, you can also throw that out. And that will also just begin working on this, too, if you want your pals in your base to, just do whatever it is that they're usually doing, which in this case, they've collected all that stuff over there. And then with that, we have also popped up to level 5, acquired these Palspheres. We can grab the rest of this off of the ground and put our land ball away. And then on the top right, you see I need to catch 4 more land balls in order to get an XP bonus. And that is going to work out just easy and fine. Put all that stuff that we just picked up away. We can also just level this up here. Now we need to build a campfire berry plantation and deploy another pal to deploy another 2 pals to work at the base. So we are going to go catch some specific pals, but first we want to get that berry plantation stuff all set up with what we have already collected. So we need to go to our technology tree and grab the berry plantation, which is right at level 5. In here also, you're also definitely going to want the ranch and definitely going to want the normal parachute. The rest of these you really don't need to worry about, especially not fire arrows and a fire bow until considerably later, and probably only really for the fire arrows, if I'm honest. So with this, though, we are going to need 2 berry plantations, which should go over here where you built your feed box. And that's just going to use some of the seeds. Honestly, I could probably build this closer to the edge here and just like really optimize the space. But it's really not a big deal. I'm just going to build them, I think, in a row right behind the feed box, and that should be just fine. And right there, I can trust the Kativas are just going to build those. And we are going to go catch what we need for not only our armor, but also automating all of the feeding that needs to go on in our base right away. So for that, we do have the unused stat points. I'm just going to grab, let's say, stamina again here. And then after that, I'm going to do 2 more levels of the carry weight. Also, for the Paldium, if you do want to make more Pal balls than I have here, because I just have the 11, these are the Paldium spots. They always are next to water, so you can follow this river all the way down, and there's pretty much those, like, all the way down, which is quite nice. The 2 pals that we're looking for while we're out here are a Pangolin and a Gumoss. Also a Foxbarks if you can, but I probably wouldn't suggest trying to catch a Foxbarks until you have armor, or if you want to, like, spend both of your weapons' durability, weakening them, unless it is a lower level than you, and then you can give it a try. For the Pangolins are also a little tough, but we absolutely have to have one, and you're going to want to catch a bunch of Pangolins, actually, literally as many as you can. Also, we need to eat, which are going to lower our damage if we don't eat first, so we're just going to grab the food there, and just punch this Pangolin, because we need it for our base. Pangolins are very, very useful early. You can go further out and get some other stuff that's going to do a similar job to the Pangolin, but honestly, the Pangolin is the variety that you want, which I'll show off everything that it can do after we finally have it caught. I will note, this one's level 4, which is not as low as they do spawn out here. In general, for these early pals, you actually want them to be as low level as you can possibly get your hands on in order to make them easier to catch. So in this case, got about a 70% chance to catch it after just beating it down with our fists. And hopefully we're not going to waste too many pal balls with it bumping around. Nice. Go in the ball. Okay, good. Now we have our Pangolin. It is getting close to night, which because we don't have our clothing built yet, night is going to damage us, but that shouldn't be a big problem. We do have 500 health, and it's basically 1 damage a second, at least in this area. We can go ahead and just see if we can't find another lamb ball, and then potentially also a Gumoss, though Gumoss tend to stop spawning at night, but that's why we have the bed back at the base. That's just a Chickapee down here. We do have this Foxbarks and another Pal Ball for free on the ground. I will try and catch this Foxbarks because I'm just going to get the fast travel point here, which if we die, we can just come right back to. Let my stamina go up here, and I will actually spend a bunch of the stone axe on this guy, I think. Foxparks, notably, you do need to kind of like catch them. If you do not hit them, they do run at the same speed as you. So it will be very hard to catch up to them if you don't. Yeah, getting a Foxparks, especially one with good perks, is a really good early game goal. Very good catch rate there. Actually got him down really easily. He cooperated and didn't just do his backdash all the time. Got him. Dainty Eater, which is a kind of whatever stat. We can just teleport back to the base now with the Foxparks. The Foxparks is going to be, like, honestly, our primary damage dealer now. Getting one early is nice. But yeah, and then we have our Pangolin, which can just immediately go onto the base to be there for watering, and we're going to need to sleep. Before we sleep, I am going to throw down one more pal bed, because we will need one more whenever we add another pal to the base. But just sleeping here will get us through the night so we don't take any damage. And should also make it easier to find the pals that we are looking for. We can just pretty much immediately run down this hill. And hopefully see a Gumoss. They are not particularly rare, but every once in a while, it'll just be a little stingy with you. I do need Lamb Balls, so I will stop for this, especially because it's a level 1. If you catch these, you get the same amount of XP, or you get more XP than if you were to just kill them. So I would highly recommend catching as much as you can. Obviously, that's going to be limited by the amount of Pal Balls that you're going to make. So if you wanted to take a minute and honestly craft like 30 Pal Balls, it would be a good thing to do. This is also working through our early objectives as well, as I need 2 more Lamb Balls. Just more Paldium fragments on the ground out here. A couple more Foxparks, which are excellent. But really need just one Gumoss. There he is. This little guy is going to automate most of our farming for, honestly, quite a while, given his specialization. They're not particularly tough and don't do a lot of damage. Generally, they're very easy to catch as long as you can find them. Sometimes they are in packs of 2, which could maybe give you a little trouble, but not at level 3. Alright, everything went normally. This was the Gumoss we were fighting the whole time. Definitely the other one did not, like, die or anything. That would be crazy. So we're going to catch this Gumoss. Now, with that Gumoss, we can head back to base. I will say, if you do see any more Pangolins, you do want to catch them, as we need to catch 10 Pangolins total for an objective that we're going to get later on. Also, even just defeating some Foxparks would be very much suggested at this point after we drop this off. So if you see Foxparks or Pangolins, even if you don't have Pal Balls, defeat them for their drops, because you will need all of it. And the extra experience doesn't hurt either. So now we can take our Gumoss and put it into the base. And the Gumoss is going to run right over here, or should, and just like immediately plant these fields. And then the Pangolin will come over and water these fields. It needs to sleep for right now because it's hurt. But yeah, the Gumoss comes over. We'll do the planting phase of this. This doesn't require any resources from you at all. The Pangolin will do all of the watering necessary, and then it will grow. And then both of our Cativas will do all of the gathering from here, and then also put it directly into the feed box. So this has 13 berries in it right now, but we'll see that significantly increase and become enough food for quite a long time, honestly. But yeah, that's what's up here. Then we just need to build a campfire. We could have done earlier, but just happened to not. That will bump us up to our next level. For our next level, we need the Pal Gear Workbench and the Statue of Power. The Statue of Power is a really, really good early upgrade that I think we are not at level yet to get. Yeah, that's next level for both the Pal Gear Workbench and also the Statue of Power. So in order to level up, we're just going to go catch the rest of those Lamb Balls that we need. And then I see 3 Foxparks out here, so before we even go back, I know I need a lot of Foxparks material. So I'm going to throw out my own Foxparks because there is no fire versus fire downside. We're going to see if we can't catch a level 6 Foxparks, which would be nice. And even if we kill it, that's also very fine. Bring him back. 75% catch rate, which is not bad. Got that, which is not bad at all. That gives us some flame organs, which we will need, along with some leather. And these two, honestly, if I can catch them, You will eventually want literally as many Fox Sparks as you can get your hands on. But this is probably going to be a situation where I do have to kill these. If this doesn't get it, we will just throw our Fox Sparks out and kill it. Nice. Okay, managed to get all those. That does put us at 5 flame organs, which is the exact amount that we're going to need coming up here soon. So after this, we just need to worry about getting to 10 Pal Fluid, which is going to come mainly from the Pangolins. That also puts us at level 7 here after having caught those Fox Sparks, which is very good. You don't have to catch Fox Sparks, though, when you're out here. Catching anything you haven't caught is going to be plenty, and we just want to grab some of this Pallium on the way back. So I will head back to the base while grabbing a bunch of Pallium, and we'll skip there. All right, we are back to base. So before we do anything else, we're going to dump everything off here and then see what we needed here, which was, of course, just the Statue of Power and the Palgear Workbench. We'll go into our technology. We'll grab both the Statue of Power and the Palgear Workbench. And for both of those, we are going to need the Statue of Power, which is just the Paldium fragments, and the 20 stone, of which we have already collected, / our Kativas have already collected. We'll just slap that down here, which is as good a place as any for that. And then we have to look at our production, which is our Palgear Workbench. For this, we're going to need 2 cloth. In addition, we also need 2 additional cloth for the armor that we're going to be making. So, using the wool that we've collected from killing the lamb balls, we're just going to make 4 while we're here anyway. And we're just going to have this lamb help us do that real quick. Also, actually, while that is happening, we want to take some of the Fox Sparks we have. If you did get Fox Sparks and they don't have any like really, truly horrible things on them, like this clumsy, we wouldn't prefer. But you want to swap in, I would say, at least 2 more Fox Sparks into your team, as they are going to be really, really helpful coming up here soon. And then other than that, we are doing good. Take that last one, make our armor set real quick. If you do at any point, whenever you're catching the lamb balls, by the way, because they do have handicraft to help you craft things, if you do get one that has a buff to the speed that they can do that, I would highly suggest keeping that in your squad, as it's going to really help out with crafting just a few of these early game things before you get any of like the really good crafting pals. Yeah, bumping up the common shield, so we're going to have a significantly more defense now. And then we can build more cloth for the normal parachute, but we should focus on our Palgear bench for right now, as that's going to give us a very significant power upgrade. And if it wasn't the next step in what we're going to be doing, I would probably tell you to just, have the pals build this, but this bench is going to be immediately important. Because not only are we going to get our new level, and next we need the crusher, the stone pit, and the logging site for these. This is going to help us really optimize our new items, which we will need to research, however, which is our Fox Sparks harness. So this is one of, honestly, the best items in the game, especially this early, though the other one is this, which we'll talk about soon. And that, alongside the stone pit and the logging site, is going to be what's going to allow us to really optimize our base and get infinite stone and infinite logging that we can just mine forever. So for that, we need to build the Fox Sparks harness. This is the reason why I said you need to kill some Fox Sparks, because you need those flame organs, and also they drop the leather. So that plus some Paldium gives you the Fox Sparks harness. And now that we have the Fox Sparks harness, that is a special item that gives me the skill for the Fox Sparks. So with this, I can actually just pick up, by holding F, my Fox Sparks, and they are a Flamethrower. This is not infinite, but it is a giant fuck-off Flamethrower that you can see at the bottom is draining relatively slowly. In addition to that, I did, of course, say that we want multiple Fox Sparks. That's because all of their cooldowns are individual. So with like 3 Fox Sparks, you can just cycle this forever, and this is going to be basically the strongest weapon you're going to have this early in the game, and honestly for quite a while. And if you get into specifically leveling Fox Sparks that have strong perks, it is just incredibly good. Fox Sparks is definitely like the main attacker you're going to want to have at the beginning of the game. It is extremely useful and definitely worth building into. Now then, let's talk about the Statue of Power. So the Statue of Power is the next thing we're going to want to do. We want to get one of what this is, which is a Lift Monk effigy, in order to enhance our capture power. At the end of this video, you will have the ability to really go out and collect a ton of these, but to start, there's one just across the water over here, which we're going to go grab alongside all of this stone, which I'll be able to throw into my base, because the Kativa have not thrown that in yet. I'm going to stand here for a second so I don't drown. Although you don't drown right away, which is nice. Grabbing this. Also grabbing a little bit more Paldium because we are about to need some more of our Palspheres because we are out still. And these will just continually respawn around here. Specifically, these two are really nice for just like a kind of a constant influx of being able to always grab these every time you come back to the base if you're really trying to always be up on your Pal Balls. And then just to check on how good the berry production has been, we are already at just 27 berries having come out of this, which is fantastic. It's almost as many berries as I've pretty much picked up at this point. And that is very much sustaining the pals that we have on the base already. So then from here, we need to, of course, get the logging site built, which we have everything for. And this is going to just go right over here, which is a decent spot for it. Obviously, you can organize your base how you want. There's just a few tips that go along with it. In this case, I am going to remove this tree as it's no longer going to be useful. And then the stone pit is going to go right here. You want to leave a little bit of space between these two, but then between them, you actually want to add a wooden chest so that you can put everything from each of them directly into this chest, and the Kativa will do that as well, which very much increases the efficiency so they don't have to walk all the way over here just to dump all of their stuff off. And also that keeps this open for you, dumping off whatever you particularly want to dump off into this chest. So, from here, I need to make a bunch of Pal Balls, and then we can go out and catch some specific pals. Alright, with that, we have cracked open a bunch of things and grabbed some more Paldium and stuff. I've got about 25 Palspheres here. We're also going to want to make sure before we go out to do this that we ding this to increase our capture power, as it is going to be basically necessary for what we are about to go do. Also, because it is just about night, I am actually going to wait until the next day so it's easier to see what I'm going to be going out and doing. You could go out and do this at night, though, if you really wanted to. So, our Kativa and Pangolins and all such have finished building both the mining operation and also the logging operation, but we have no one to work the logging operation, which isn't great. Also, before we do anything else, we will want to preemptively build another bed here so that can get done while we are gone. But we want to build that and also the crusher that's needed for our current level up, which I don't think I have unlocked yet. Crusher's actually at our next level, right? We can't yet. So what we want to do as we are going out here is, because we now have our Fox Sparks that is going to be able to give us a good amount of damage, we can catch a few more dangerous options for not only making us stronger, but also for working our base. Mainly, that is going to be the deer that you've probably seen me run past a little bit, the Eikther deer. They are extremely good at logging, and it is also all that they do. They have level 2 logging, and it is their only task on the base, which makes them incredibly good because they'll spend every waking hour that they are not sleeping or eating logging for us using the infinite logging node, which means it's basically going to remove our need for logging things ourselves, at least for the most part. So we need to find an Eikther deer. It is worth noting because we are level 7, which we might be level 8 by the time we find one, because we will want to catch every Pangolin that we do see, but we found them already, as you see here. Because we are level 7, it's going to be a bit tough to catch this level 9 one. Usually you want to be like level 8. Catching a level 9 is pretty fine. I would not suggest doing this if you have not bumped up your capture rate at least once, but just getting the Statue of Power and getting that item across the river is enough to do that. In order to hurt these guys enough, you want to immediately do Huggy Fire. And just burn down as much of their health as you can get. And try and keep safe. With the shield that you built, it should be pretty easy to do so, but they are no slouch when it comes to damage. We have about a 57% catch rate on them. We can just hide behind this fast travel point actually here. Got it in one. Perfect. That gives us leather, horns, and more importantly, an Eikther deer. And send out our Fox Sparks here in order to distract a little bit. We can always just switch to our next one if this goes very poorly for our level 7 Fox Sparks. This is level 10. We do want a second one if we can get a hold of one, and you're going to want a good Eikther deer at some point. Our Fox Sparks is doing very well here. It does have a type advantage. And before that Fox Sparks dies, we can just throw out the next one. And it actually has fared very well here. Sometimes the Eikther deers really just kill the Fox Sparks straight away, and it's pretty rough for them, but this is working out quite well. We don't have the bow yet, so there's not really much we can do to help. We're going to throw out our third one, though. A little bit of damage in. Not on me, ideally. That's low enough now. 40% catch rate because it's another level higher. You can see how much catch rate affects your likelihood to catch things based on level, just between that level 9 and level 10, because we are level 7. But we got it anyway. So that gives us a 2 Eikthyr to use. We can use this right here just to fast travel back. If you do die and you are around a fast travel point, it's really easy to recover. But with the Eikthyr, we can take them. One of them has a buff on them, so we'll keep that one for ourselves. And then this one can just work the base. It's also the higher level one, which is fine. And you'll see this Eikthyr will pretty much immediately run over and just start beating its head against this, just mining up to, 10,000 wood, just absolutely going at it. So now, if this is here for a while, you'll have tons and tons of wood and are very unlikely to run out. Also, you can see that the Kativa have already worked a little bit on this. They're not as good as other options, of course, but they're not nothing whenever it comes to mining and will be a good start. If you have an additional Kativa, because we do have an open slot here, you could also throw one in there, and that will be just fine. You could also, if you do happen to catch a second one of these, throw that in as well, which we're actually going to do, because multiple pals can work on this. So if you really want to keep up with that, you can do that. And then for that, we also are going to need one more bed, which you can see in the top right there with the base info. Whenever you're short on beds, it'll tell you. The Kativa will build this, and then everything here should be good, and we should be good to get ready to head out to catch a few specific further away pals that are really going to enhance our abilities a ton. So for that, we're going to build the bow, which we already have enough for, which is fantastic. And I guess before I even really get started on this, I'm going to build the bow, and I'm going to build, say, like 90 arrows, which is probably a little overkill, but you're going to want the arrows anyway, so you might as well build them. Okay, as a quick stop, while we were crafting these arrows, we did ding level 8. So at level 8, of course, we want the Crusher, because that's going to be important for leveling up. Nothing else on level 8 is actually very important, at least until we unlock these. So you really just need to grab the Crusher, and then we are actually going to throw that up as well. I believe we do have everything. No, I need a little bit more wood, which I'll let the deer get, and then I'm actually going to go grab the Paldium fragments so that we can build that while my lamb also finishes some more of the arrows. And then, of course, we are going to, once again, enhance stats and increase our carry weight. Oh, hey, also, very important thing while I'm just rooting around here getting ready to build the Crusher, you might be able to hear the noise here. I'm going to try and turn this up. You'll most certainly be able to see the sparkle. There's a shiny over here, for this game's equivalent of a shiny. You'll be able to hear it glowing more as you get near it. There you go. We have a shiny chickpea. So if you see these, you always want to catch them. Always. Usually, they do not spawn this early. Usually be a little bit later before you start seeing these. We just want to come down here and catch this thing. They do have considerably more health, so don't feel bad about like deploying your Fox Sparks on them, as they are considerably tougher. They usually do have some strong moves as well, which can be a concern. You really want to make sure not to kill them. We should be good now. We have enough arrows to whittle this thing down without relying on our Fox Sparks to do so. One more arrow, and we're at an 84% catch rate there. So the special thing about these is that not only are they larger and have good moves usually, they also have a ton of really good benefits. So that is Lucky, Workaholic, and Motivational Leader. Lucky is the one that they will always have if they are the glowy, larger creatures. Lucky is 15% attack and work speed, so it's good on every single pal. Honestly, I would expect that on most pals it is the optimal skill to have. And getting them just in general, no matter what pal it is, even if you don't think it's useful to you, is really good for the breeding system you're going to get into later. So you do always want to catch them whenever you see them, because you don't know if it's going to be useful for whenever you get into breeding. But yeah, so quick aside on that, because we did have one spawn, and it is just worth noting, but we're now going to jump back in here and build the Crusher. And for the Crusher, we do have a particular note for it, and it's that you should build the Crusher backwards. And what I mean by that is, this is it facing you, and this is it facing away from you. So you want to build it facing away from you if you're going to build it up against a wall, because whenever you have the water pals that are going to be running this, they go to the back of it in order to spin the water wheel. So you actually want to make it the front for them, and then it doesn't really matter what side of this you interact with. And then the Crusher, importantly, if you were wondering, you can turn stone into Paldium, so whenever you get that infinite stone going, you can do that. And you can also turn wood, one wood, into fiber, which is also really nice for a few different things as well. But the Crusher is not super necessarily needed to use all the time. So yeah, we're going to finish these arrows and then get ready to go on a little adventure to catch some specific pals, as I said before. Okay, and the last thing that we are crafting before we head out, because it is going to be needed for a shortcut that we are going to use, is we are also crafting our normal parachute so that we can get across a specific gap on our way to where we're going. You don't have to craft this. You can go the long way around, and I will note where that is. But it's only 2 cloth, really, for the normal parachute, and you're going to want it in case you fall off something anyway. All right, we have our normal parachute, and we are now ready to head out. So from here, we can actually just take this fast travel and go down to the Grassy Behemoth Hill. Go right down here, and just head on forward. So there is the Skilled Islander here. It's worth talking to him, because he'll give you a little extra Paladin, which doesn't weigh very much. And also is worth noting that while you're going down here, you want, again, as many Pangolins as you can get, whether you catch them or not. Catching them is preferred. You do not have to catch them. You need to kill or catch 10 Pangolins, or another pal that I'll note whenever we see it, if we do. But it's a bit more rare in this area. Grab that Liftmuck effigy. Make sure one of the Pangolins did not get away. We got to chase this one down. One of the really nice thing about the bow and arrow and having it is that if you can just hit a pal that's running away like this, they will begin combat with you, which stops them from running away, and is actually the primary reason we even want the bow. Because normally we could just fight everything with Fox Sparks, but the Flamethrower doesn't have as much range as a bow does. Put him away. Pangolins being nice and passive for me here. 60% chance to catch, which is why I made about 30 pal balls before we're leaving, as it could be kind of a pain. But definitely catching the Pangolins is really worth it, because as you can see up there, we're getting considerable chunks of XP for it. It's also worth noting that in terms of just leveling, you always want to have the pal balls. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's really worth it to drive home that every single pal you catch that is not more than the 10th one of that one that you've caught continually gives you more and more and more and more and more experience. The more you do, the more experience it's going to give you. Even for like these chickapees that are here. I don't particularly need chickapees, but it's worth it to me to grab these because they're here and they're a ton of experience for me. Because like just that is what, a whole level? Or that like the second half of the sorry, there's a quarter of a level just for those 2 chickapees. Just the little nothing chickens. And it is very considerable. Anyway, coming to this area, there's one that we want. We want a Rushoar. Rushoar is so important for, honestly, even whenever I'm level 30, I think I'm 33 or so, on my other world with my partner, that is kind of like my main world, and Rushoar is still extremely useful. The only thing that can replace it is so high level. You are really going to want a Rushoar, so that's a fantastic to get. More than one of that is great. We got Nimble on Rushoar, which is actually insanely good. If you get any of the speed increases, that's also what you want. And then this is the other one we want, actually. This is a Vixy. Rushoar and Vixy both spawn in this area. Vixy is important for a primary farm that we're going to be doing, which I will talk about whenever we set it up. Also, there's the other water type that I was meaning to talk about. Those are Fwax. These also drop the Pal Fluid, which is what we're looking for, which we need 10 of total. So these have got to go, too. And then we have Enhancing Stats. I'm actually going to bump up Stamina a little bit for this level. Yeah, Vixys we definitely need. Also, seeing the level 3 Fwax is actually really nice, because sometimes these are just like always level 6, which can make them, like, and there's the level 6 right there. Sometimes a little annoying to catch. Do a light throw there. You also don't have to draw the bow back all the way in order to fire it, and you can do less damage by doing it that way, which is definitely what I would suggest. Also, a nice thing that these drop leather, which you're going to need plenty of too. So if you want to farm the Fwax instead of farming the Pangolins, totally reasonable. But as you can see, the level 6 ones are kind of assholes and will make you waste so many Palspheres on them. 72 does not feel like 72 on a Fwack for whatever reason. Having come over here, the thing that we're looking for is we need to actually head over to this on our left. And we wanted to head this way because Rushoars are very common here. There's a bunch of different encounters that can spawn here, but a pack of Rushoars is relatively common. We want to grab this chest, which is a couple of Palspheres, which is nice. There's also another Vixy. There's another Rushoar. The Vixies we want about 4 of. You won't use all 4 of them right away, but you definitely will use at least 4. Grab this for some more Palspheres. But minimum, you want 2 Vixies while you're out here. And then just for levels, we will grab another Rushoar. Though at this level, it's going to be very hard to get one that's better than the one with Nimble that we picked up. That will be the one we're using. There's another Vixy for us. Get this one to not run away from us. That is the 4 Vixies that we want. And then this, really going either way from this, is the kind of shortcut I was talking about with our little parachute. So like from this, we can just get a little running jump and just glide across. There's other ways to get across this gap, but like they're annoying. This is going to be, as you can see there, it's our 3rd objective in the tutorial. This is the kind of boss that we need to defeat, which I won't be going over in this video, but you can do it with a wide variety of different things. But this we want to grab because this is our fast travel back over here. So now that we have the Rushoar and the Vixies, we can go back and build some very important stuff. So, after catching Rushoar on our technology tree, at level 6, we can build the Rushoar saddle. This is a massive upgrade because not only is it our first mount, it is also the Rushoar's specialty to be mining. The Rushoar is able to instantly mine full tiers of any rock that it hits, which means that it instantly mines little Paldium deposits, which are 5 Paldium apiece, and it does like just huge amounts of mining at a time on any larger rock, and it's going to be the main way we're going to be getting into metal items and also farming a ton of stone if we happen to need that going forward, at least for a lot of levels. All right, Rushoar saddle acquired. So now we can throw out our Rushoar and just hold F to jump on top of it. So this one is nimble, so it does have the huge benefit, especially this early, of the 10% increase to movement speed, which is what nimble gives. There are better perks than this, but it's very, very nice to have as the first Rushoar I picked up. And with this, this is what the Rushoar is capable of doing. This node that would normally take me like, 10 seconds to farm, I can just click, rush through it, and gain the 5 fragments. If I hit multiple of them, I will break all of them. And because we have like a nice line down here, you can very often line up multiple of these and just crack them all with Reckless Charge, and it is extremely, extremely useful. So like even in this case, I might be able to hit both of these because it is pretty fast across this. Kind of missed it on that one. But regardless, it is much, much faster, especially just to have a mount, but also to have an option for mining that is not the pickaxe. So yeah, just grabbing that. You can see we grabbed 30 stone because I accidentally ran into this rock. It is so good for mining. It does similarly with actual full ore deposits, which we will be talking about farming as well. This here should be able to probably hit both of these. Oh yeah, went over it even because this is also like not bad for getting over some gaps. Yeah, this is incredibly good and is going to solve some of our problems in terms of collecting Paldium and any kind of different ore and such. Also, is grabbing that there. We are about to ding our next level, so I'm just going to see if we can't weaken these. That killed them both. I'll actually grab this Kativa, because grabbing more Kativa is actually going to be relatively important for us. We have our clothes, so we don't have to worry about being out at night. That's going to ding us to the next level. We'll grab one more Kativa. That's 99, so I'm just going to assume that's going to go in. Guess we have those 2 Kativas. We are now dinged on level 10, which gives us some things that we can do. Yeah, mounting. The only thing you have to worry about with mounting is that you will have to feed your mount more often because it will lose hunger as it's out of its ball. And our unused stat points here, I'm actually just going to do a pump up on stamina there. I believe, no, we're all good. So yeah, we have that going, and then here on the base upgrade, we have all three of these. Want to upgrade this. Now we need the hot spring and the primitive furnace. So for these, if we go into technology, now that we're at 10, we need the primitive furnace and also the hot spring, which is at our previous level. So this is what needs those PAL fluids I keep talking about, which I don't have quite enough of yet. And then we are also going to need 3 more flame organs. So you'll need to take down 3 more fox sparks. And then at this point, I need 6 more thwacks or 6 more pangolins. So either one, whether we kill them or not, is going to be what we're going to need in order to get the hot spring built and the primitive furnace built. And then the primitive furnace is going to give us access to a lot of stuff. But before we do that, we need to set up an optional farm that is extremely good, which is going to be our ranch. So our ranch I'm just going to put next to the beds here because that's just fine. And then the food is going to be right here, which I'll want those things to be together. Because it's night and I want some help farming this, or building this rather, we're going to make it day. And then while they get to work building that, we're going to add the pals here that are going to be so helpful, and that is the Vixies. So we get to talk about what the Vixies do. If we look at the Vixies, it sometimes digs up items from the ground when assigned to the ranch. Sometimes is very often, and the items that it can dig up are straight up money, arrows, and PAL balls, which is an incredible spread, and it mostly digs up PAL balls. So you basically want to just have a bunch of these on your base, really as many as you have like extra spots for. I'm actually going to drop one of the Eikthyr for this, because having 2 Vixies digging this up is going to give us a nice influx of both, well, really of just all 3 of the items that I mentioned. They are incredibly nice to have around, and they are much suggested. Okay, with that built, now we can not have enough wood for that because the Eikthyr have hoarded it all here in all likelihood. Yeah, we have 200 wood there that we're now going to dump into this. Okay, the Eikthyr do not put it there themselves, which is fine. But yeah, from here, we can just dump this chest here right at the entrance pretty much. They'll build that, and that'll be all sorted. But these 2 are now grazing. We can actually lift them and try and assign them specifically to the ranch. Yeah, assign to the ranch. So that they really don't do anything else except for ranch, which is all we want them to do the whole time. The Kativa will come over here and clean up every once in a while, along with the pangolin, actually, which you can see doing some farming for us. In terms of food, we're doing very well. This number will only continue to go up. So you can also just, like, you know, take some of this from this if you want to carry more berries. But it's really not a big deal anyway. Yeah, and then in terms of carrying stuff around, we want to dump all this extra stuff back in here, including our paldium, so that we can carry more stuff around. And then for that, we now just need to go and get those materials for the primitive furnace and the hot springs. Those are enemies that we've already killed, so I am just going to go get the pangolins and the fox sparks, and then include anything that's important in between. So I will see you after going and getting those. Those are just going to be on like the usual area here. Just this area is where we're going to see pangolins and fox sparks. That's probably what I'm going to do, just to farm those out while catching as many as I can, which will probably ding me to like level 11 or so, because that XP is going to continue to increase. If you want thwacks, you can just go up in here where you're going to start seeing them over in this area. But you won't see as many fox sparks over here, so I would really suggest just keeping around this kind of Mamarest zone in our beginning area. All right, we are back to base, and we do have enough of those special materials for both our hot spring, which we are going to take the hot spring and just throw it over here. I usually like this over by the PAL beds. Just putting it in front of where you sleep is fine, because the PALs should generally not be over here anyway. And then our other item that we need to build is the primitive furnace. So the primitive furnace is going to be manned most of the time, I'm going to say. You want this somewhere where it's going to be, you know, kind of easy for the pals to use it, and also for you to access it to get it started up pretty much at all times. I'm just going to put it kind of in the middle here, next to the fire here, just so that there is a good amount of room for it to be used, and for me to always be able to check it whenever I come back in, because it is going to be active a lot of the time. It makes the primary bottleneck for the materials that you're going to need to progress very massively. So, moving on though, we need our enhanced stats, which is definitely going to be weight. From this point, for me personally, I'm going to put 1 more point into stamina, and then I'm going to put points into weight until I reach 1,000 weight. At 1,000 weight, I will probably go back and put stamina to 200. And then after that, from that point, More weight up to like 1500 is reasonable, but you could also just go HP for the entirety of the rest of your levels in the game if you wanted to be very, very hard to take down, which I think is pretty reasonable to want. Also, there are some other tricks we can use to get more carry weight once we're at that much higher level. So it's less important to invest in it, but you definitely, I think, want to be at minimum 1,000 carry weight available, especially whenever you're about to see what we're going to be doing. So this allows us to make ingots. We do have 6 that we can already make, and we are going to need them, so we're going to have our Foxsparks start working on that. You do need a PAL to actually smelt these, so this is a good time for us to go to this, upgrade this, and open this up. And while we could add another Vixy, if you want the smelter to not need to be managed by you whenever you're here, or if you don't want to, like, you know, take a break and just let your Foxsparks smelt all the ingots that you need it to smelt while you're here, you can assign a Foxsparks here, and that is also very useful. Eventually, you will want that, but if you're trying to power level and you need a ton of PAL balls, it's not really going to get better than having Vixys here, although this clumsy one's not going to help us very much, so we're going to put this one in. But yeah, the Vixys are just stellar. I mean, you can see, like, just the items that are already just hanging out over here. A bunch of money, some arrows, PAL balls, arrows and PAL balls, arrows and PAL balls, and let's see if anything's even in here. Nothing got sorted into here, but, like, just the Vixys being able to do that, the more of them that are here, the more you're going to get from them. Like this one that just immediately walked over and made a Palsphere for us, which is just going to help you be able to clear out all of these early pals in this area, get all of them to 10, and you're going to be a much higher level, much, much faster, which is just excellent. But yeah, and then this is working on crafting those. From here, our next stuff is we need high-quality workbench and a medieval medicine workbench. Also of note, on the tutorial, obviously at this point I'm kind of ignoring that we need to go challenge the Rain Syndicate Tower. I don't think that you should challenge that until you are at least level 15 and have a few different pals under your belt, but you can feel free to challenge it sooner if you would like to. But it is, you know, more challenging than the rest of the tutorial, so I think you want to level up a bit before you get to that point. In terms of the tech that we need in order to level here, those two are available already, I believe, or they're available at 12. That is the high-quality workbench. And then, at 12, it's a split between now and the next one. So we need this and then this here. And then at this next level, we're also going to get the pelt armor, which is very helpful as well. And the Eikthyr saddle, which is going to give us a much faster mount that is also much better at combat than our boar. So we're going to want to have both for that. So the extra Eikthyr that we caught earlier is going to be used for this. So we are going to need 10 ingots for that, which we've already started on. So I would like to talk about the best place to get ore this early. For that, you will want the Rushoar. If you do not have the Rushoar already, you are going to be very sad whenever you try and do this. I am going to dump as much stuff as I can here into these different chests, because this is why we have been pumping carry weight so much throughout what we have played so far, because we need a ton of ore. So, from the Rain Syndicate Tower entrance, we can come here and jump on our Rushoar in order to get to this area over here. This area with the red trees is where you are headed to. Coming up this way, there's usually a base here. Of note, in the center, if you kill these guys, you can get the PAL that's in the center there. If there's a Vixy there, sometimes it feels like they have better stats, but I don't have confirmation that the ones that you rescue from these have, like, better perks and such. But, you know, anecdotally, it has seemed that way for me. So if you want to rescue that, if it is a PAL that you think you are going to want, I would suggest doing so. And then from here, we can just run up this. This gives us a nice elevation to simply fly on over to the other side here. This is a shortcut, I would call it, from, like, running around the full distance, but it's also the definite fastest way to get here. It's just another reason that you're going to want that. Although I think you can make that jump even if you haven't built the glider. Yeah, then just running up here, you're going to be getting another fast travel point that you are going to use a ton. And I mean a real ton. This is the Desolate Church. And we have this very convenient travel point here. And behind this church, well, inside this church, there is notably, usually a chest, which there is in this case. And also one of these fragments, or the Lift Monk effigies, rather, which you, of course, going to want as many of them as you can get. Behind the church, these are all ore deposits. These are arranged in a very convenient way for Rushoar to farm them, because if we simply do this, and bounce absolutely perfectly between them, we still got 10 ore. What you want to do is hit multiple of these and get, 30 ore there. That was just the full 31 ore, just straight out. If I hang out between these two, we just crash into both of these for 60 ore. I can no longer move. So there's that. So we're going to have to drop some of this or something else that we're carrying if it's particularly heavy. Maybe just like feeding myself and my Rushoar will maybe get me there. Not quite. So yeah, we're going to have to drop some of this. You can hold control just to grab some of this. This is 88 pounds. We can drop 60 pounds of this. So yeah, just drop that right on the ground, and now we can move again. And the most convenient thing, of course, here is that there's a fast travel point right here. So you can take everything that you just farmed and immediately bring it back to your base. So from here, we immediately head back to the base. You can start a new chest or just dump the ore into this box, which is what we're going to do. And these 6 ingots are ready, and what we just farmed in the 2 seconds we were over there is 30 ingots. Those nodes do respawn. It is at this point that I am actually going to assign a Vixy here. Or not assign a Vixy. Assign a fox here in order to work the smelter. So they are always going to be doing the furnace thing, and that is going to make all of the ingots that we're going to need. We are going to need so many ingots. So this has been like the reason why we've been leveling so much carry weight, so you can carry as many ingots as possible back. It is worth noting, if you are really going to want to farm a ton of this, one of the best things you can do is actually keep the Rushoar in your party and then make all the other slots Kativa. Every Kativa that's in your party increases your carry weight by 50, so that is an extra 200 pounds you can have for the purposes of this. So, in this case, we can sort this by PAL number. I have these extra 2 Kativa that I am actually going to swap in the place of this, so I can carry the extra 100 pounds of weight. You can see that PAL skill effect there. There's other PALs that you can get later that have higher versions of this skill, but they're much more difficult to get, and we can't really access them now without leveling up quite a bit, which is the reason we need the metal in order to do that anyhow. So yeah, the fox is going to work on this, and then I'm going to go get even more metal and farm out that whole thing. But this is going to be like primary location for you to get all of the ore that you're going to need for the early game and get into like, metal armor and all kinds of good stuff. So I would highly, highly recommend it. Also worth noting, usually whenever you drop ore here, it has not despawned whenever you come right back. So if I go right over here, you can see that ore that I had dropped, is some of it at least, is still here. Now we can just bounce around through here and grab all of this stuff. There's 50 ore. We're almost at weight. And also just to show how like big the difference here is, I'm going to take this stone pickaxe and I'm just going to like start working on this, and you'll see how little ore I do get. There's 1. Oh, my entire stamina bar almost gave as much as Rushoar bumping into one of these. Nice. Yeah, so we definitely want to use Rushoar for this. It is infinitely worth it. If you have not gone to get a Rushoar, you just should do it. Also, we are at weight. We have 600 pounds of ore in our pockets, basically. So we head back here, dump all of that ore off, and then rinse and repeat. Also, we're going to make it day so that everyone is, like, doing all of their tasks. As skipping night is fantastic, unless you have owls that never sleep. Then those are, of course, not going to matter whether it's day or night. But you can see what the Vixys have done here, which has been excellent. Just a bunch of Palspheres. This is fantastic for us. Yeah, 5 arrows, 7 spears, 40 coins. Good stuff there. Let's just toss this into this. We do not need the money right now. Yeah, those 10 ingots that we just got, we can actually use that to make our high-quality workbench after we craft some nails, which I believe I did grab through here already. Oh, do I need to grab those still? Yeah, grab the nails now. So we have the nails, and we're just gonna build a second bench for that, so we don't have to go through the other. Yeah, and then this, we're going to need 10 nails, so we're going to build 5 of these, and then those, there'll be some progress on those whenever we get back. We're just going to get a bunch more ore, because we are going to need a ton. Okay. We have dinged level 12, which was the last thing we needed to do. Just finished catching the rest of the lamb balls that we can up to our cap on the experience bonus, which was 10 for any given pal, as a reminder. And then we have our fox sparks creating a bunch of ingots. And now, because we are leveled up, we can grab our medieval workbench and our pelt armor, which we already have enough for, although I think we might have to grab a little more. And then we can also get our Eikthyr saddle, though that's not super important right now, but we will definitely want it. And with those 3 things, we have enough to craft the high-quality workbench, which we are going to just put at the back here. It's a fine place for it. And then also have our medieval workbench, which we're only really going to be it's basically just going to be us using this most of the time. So I can just go right here next to this, which we don't have enough to level this up yet. Yeah, so once we finish building these, we will have our base leveled up once again. All right, that being all done, we can advance our base level to 9. And then lastly, we need the cooler box and the sphere workbench, which we are only going to have once we are the next level, which is 13, and then the sphere workbench is at 14. So we need a bunch of levels. Luckily, in addition to getting all of this stuff and also having him start crafting it, you can see what the Vixys have been up to. And if you caught a glimpse of what's going on at the bottom right, I have 56 Palspheres right now. And every time I come back to base, it's basically this situation where there are still a bunch more. So that is, fantastic to have. We're also short a couple beds, though, so I got to make sure I throw those down. We're going to need one more, so we're going to build another row of the beds, but I don't have enough fiber. With not having enough fiber, I am going to go grab that real quick and craft those beds real fast. One sec. All right, back to it. We have those built now. We have a considerable overage on fiber even as well. So those are now building, and that means we can add, because we did just level up with this open space, we're going to move this Fox Sparks over, and we are going to add in another Vixy, because this is, continually super useful to have all those Palspheres on hand for catching all the things we're going to want to catch. In addition, for catching what we're about to want to go catch, I've built the 3-shot bow from the tech tree, and also in order for getting that fiber faster, because I do have the ingots already, we built a metal axe. The metal pickaxe, because we have Rushoar, is really not necessary, and I can't really imagine how good a further pickaxe needs to be in order for me to use it over what the options are later. So you don't really need this, but you could have it if you just don't really care that it's 5 pounds heavier. And in general, on my level 30 plus character file, I don't even carry a pickaxe around. I would rather just have a strong pal able to mine with me. But yeah, the 3-shot bow is very helpful here, though. It is a very nice upgrade to our old bow. This is 40, but you shoot 3 arrows, and this is 65 with just 1 arrow. However, the 3-shot bow does not use 3 arrows when you fire it, which is critically important because it is not an efficiency loss in terms of using your arrows. So we can just discard that old bow because we're not going to need it again. Because this is just purely better. Now, because we are getting close to the level that we want to be to kind of end this video out, which is 15, we need to go catch the thing that is going to be the important thing at level 15. And that is a Nightwing. For that, sometimes they do appear at night, so I am going to run over there. But out in these starter fields, you've seen them a little bit flying around. They are the huge birds, just absolutely gigantic birds that are sometimes overhead. And if there's not one here, I do know where they can also be. All right, yeah, there weren't any over there, so we can just come over here and just head out. And head over to this ridge here. Grabbing some berries, though we don't really need berries at this point. We're crafting so many in the base. And over on this hill, you can see we have another of the lift monks. We have a thing that might be particularly useful. This is really RNG dependent, though. That is this special tree that you see here. We can use our glider just to jump across this. Grab this, and then what these are here really matters. We have Spark Blast. Lock-on Laser. I haven't seen that one before. And Stone Cannon, which is really good. So, these are skill fruits. This is a skill tree. There are a bunch of these around, but what fruits they give are totally random. Pals do not have any restriction on what they can learn. And rideable pals, you can have these just be used at will. Lock-on Laser, we're going to test on one of our later mounts, because I'm not sure quite what that is. But Spark Blast should be quite useful for our Rushoar in order to do what we are going to be doing. So, on our Rushoar, you can see that we now have Spark Blast on them, which will just let us release lightning balls along with our Sand Blast, which is just kind of like a basic little attack that I can show here. So from this, we have our Sand Blast, which is just a learned move that you learn just by leveling up Rushoar, and then our Spark Blast, which is this electric move that is nice and wide-reaching and should be good for dealing some pretty considerable damage should we need to, which for amount that you're going to have around all the time is very good. At least until you're about level maybe 25 or so is whenever you could get the upgrade to what Rushoar does. Yeah, we're headed over here towards these ruins, though, as this is going to give us another travel point and is also a very common spawning ground for the Nightwings that we are currently hunting. Whoops, accidentally hit a lift mark. That's fine. Oh, I did not mean to throw the better... Wow, it failed. Get in the ball. Lift monks, come on. Get in there. I wasted my better ball, which is what I was going to use on the Nightwing. So you got to be caught. You'll also start seeing some T-fonts and some other things around here, which you should be catching for experience, but I'm, of course, skipping that so we can find the thing that we are looking for. Also, the Tansies are here as well. Yeah, this area here is, there's one right there, is usually very common for the Nightwing spawning. There's two over here even. We want to grab whatever one is the lower level one. Yeah, so this level 10 Nightwing is what we are looking to grab, and also this chest while we're here. 20 arrows, which is nice. But yeah, this should not be too particularly difficult because we are mounted up on Rushoar. We have some pretty good damage resistance to what he's going to be throwing at us. And also, we are the level that we should be for catching him. And with the triple shot bow, we can make relatively short work of his health and just start doing our throws now. 40% catch rate, you know, could be better, but is certainly not bad either. And there we go. All right, so Nightwing acquired. So from this point, we have the Nightwing, which on the technology tree, we can actually see ahead of time that at level 15, we get the Nightwing saddle. That gives us access to basically completely unbounded flight wherever we need to go and is insanely useful. This is the first flying mount of many, actually. But you are definitely going to make sure that you have this. The moment you ding 15, you should be able to build this. So we need the 15 ingots, the 10 cloth, which is not a big deal. If you've caught a bunch of sheep, you'll already have that. The leather, which can be a little bit more difficult, that comes from fox sparks and flax, and a few other. There's a good variety of things. The Eikther deer drop usually like 3, so they're also pretty good for this if you're confident in just killing a bunch of those. And then the fiber is no problem, and the Palladium fragments also are no problem. Our Rushoar can just take care of that, obviously. So from here, basically the plan is, of course, I'm going to be leveling because I would like to, craft the next stuff that we need, the cooler box and the sphere workbench. But from this point on, crafting the cooler box and sphere workbench is fine and all, but we mostly are headed straight to 15, and we should be using the Pal balls that the Vixies are going to be providing us with relatively constantly to catch things that we don't have 10 of, and ding as many levels as we can as fast as we can in order to get to level 15, because that opens up a bunch of options for us. So that is going to be what I am doing. I grab the T-font there, and you can just see like how much of that XP has scaled up as well. Yeah, between the arrows that we're getting from the Vixies and the Pal Balls we're getting from the Vixies, I should be able to go around and catch a ton of these easy-to-catch pals without an issue at all. Amazing. We love what the Vixies can do. Just 27 Palspheres completely reloaded us from our little outing. We are back from getting it to level 15, so we have some points to put in. Number one is the Nightwing saddle, which is going to be our primary concern, and then of course the things we need for our level up. You're going to want to be able to craft Megaspheres, and then in terms of other stuff here, the crossbow, pretty useful. Worth crafting for sure if you have the extra materials to do so. I would highly suggest you do that. You are going to need the mill and the wheat plantation, so you will just have to have those. And then other than that, we can skip on a lot of this stuff for now. If while you were out, you caught a Lift Monk. Lift Monk is actually very similar to Fox Sparks in terms of how useful it is. You get Lift Monk's submachine gun. Basically, the Lift Monk will jump on your head, and then it will mirror whenever you are attacking. It will be shooting its gun, which is quite good. So I would suggest also learning this. Pansy's assault rifle I find to be considerably worse, as it's not based on you. But this one is quite nice, especially if you can find a good Lift Monk around. And then other than that, we're pretty much ready to go. So yeah, we have these 70 ingots to put in here, along with everything else that we collected. And then we are pretty much ready to build that Nightwing saddle. We just need to make the cloth, and we need a single more leather. Whoops, I thought I had enough. I thought I was right at the how much leather I needed, but it looks like I am not. So I'm going to need to just craft a few more things from that. So yeah, well, we'll be right back while I grab just those quick materials. All right, and with this last cloth crafted, we can craft our Nightwing saddle, which is our final goal for this video. All right, and we are done. The Nightwing saddle has been crafted. I have pulled my Nightwing out of the box, and we can just see just how nice it is to have a Nightwing. This is affected by the stamina increases that we have already done. And you can see just from flying up here, especially at this time of day, every green little glowing spot you see there is one of the Lift Monks. We're getting the height advantage, and being able to see all those upgrades for our capture rates is incredible. And also, whenever you're flying up here, we obviously have the stamina that's going down. It's especially going down as we gain height. But when you run out of stamina, falling back to Earth does not deal damage to you. So this is also no fall damage. And if that wasn't enough for what Nightwing provides for you, we also have the case where if we wanted to, say, go over to that island over there, if that is where you want to be, in terms of water, Nightwing can hover on the water at no stamina cost. So we're actually recovering stamina. This is considered to be ground for Nightwing. So we just have basically freed up our movement entirely in terms of climbing cliffs and getting up on top of mountains. You can see how efficient it is just at getting even just back up to our spawn zone, which is this giant cliff down. This opens up the game basically in its entirety for what you're going to do from this point forward. You can get a ton of exploration going, get a bunch of Lift Monks, upgrade your capture rate, and really just get into a bunch of the different upgrades. Let your base do its thing from where we are. You have, like, attained full freedom. We have the farm here with the Vixies that are going to be giving you enough Pal Balls to continually catch more and more stuff, giving you more arrows in order to fight more stuff, and also giving you gold in order to purchase things. We have the berries that are being done by our Gumos, and also that's being helped by our Pangolin as well, which is also helping with other things around the base. And then we have our Eikthyr giving us more wood. The Cativas are also mining along with organizing things. And then if you want to do various runs to get more ore for your Fox Sparks, you can set up the smelter in order to just kind of run in perpetuity to continually give you more and more metal. I have played at this point for a total about 2.5 hours. I took a couple of breaks while recording and just kind of let the game do its thing for a little while, mostly to get more wood and also for all of our ingots to craft. But with the about 100 ingots that we have left over, we have a lot of stuff that we can start getting into from this point, which is the next few levels, up at like level 23 or so. We can get like metal armor, the musket at 21, and just things that we're going to be able to craft because we have set up all of these different things. We get the Pangolin rocket launcher at 17, which, as you can see, we very comfortably have the materials to put together, and that's going to be a very powerful weapon for us. And also, we're going to get the Mega Shield at the very next level. If you guys want to see more content, then we can talk about how to farm civilization parts, set up your secondary base, which also, worth noting from our thing here, the very next upgrade for us, once we have the cooler box and the sphere workbench built, which, in terms of materials, is pretty low on the totem pole. We can fully build the cooler box and also the sphere workbench. We just need to craft some nails and grab a single paldium in order to be able to do that. So that's essentially already done. This is the point where you would be moving on to where you should set up your second base and what that should do. But this is home. You have successfully, with all of these things crafted together, put together infinite wood, infinite stone, just letting your pals do it themselves. Infinite food, because as you can see from just the little bit that we've played, we have over 200 berries here that are going to sustain this base for a very long time, and just constant pal ball production as well. And if you wanted to go about and collect a little bit more leather, which is of course going to be a bottleneck for a few different things, you could just craft the new pelt armor as well. So an armor upgrade is right on the horizon too. But yeah, if you guys want to see me do more progression guides and stuff, absolutely just let me know in the comments, as I think that, what exactly you should be doing for progression is very interesting in this game. And from here, things get a lot more kind of widened out. So I think it would be interesting to do as well. But yeah, the thing that I would suggest from here is that you go and level up your capture rate and grab those Liftmonk effigies, as many as you can, especially at night, because you can see even a bunch from here. Level this up to like level 4 or 5, honestly. Really just go on a collection spree with those while throwing pal balls at anything you don't have 10 of, and you will level a ton and have a very, very easy time catching a lot of higher level pals as you encounter them, as you explore and collect more of the effigies. But yeah, that's the guide for Palworld. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. This game has been super fun, and I'll be playing more of it on stream in all likelihood. So yeah, hopefully this video has been informative, if a little long, and I will see you next time. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and of course, as usual, thanks very much to the patrons for supporting the channel, especially the $10 patrons: Alex Barnum, Andrew, Angel SBM, Arbiter Daydream, Benuven, Blotomatic, Brandon Coggin, Brutus Salazar, Canolathra, Dylan Dworsky, Thrain, Afon, James Hartshorn, GC4 Science, John Lobdell, Joshua Adams, Luzanth, Bigokel, Inti Ginja, Michta, Nerve, Ramox Sedate, Ruby, Sharp247, Tamrielic Wastelander, The Coupon of Death, Homeworm, Victor Palmer, Waifu Wars Wadded, and Zerafir. And of course, thank you very much to all of the $5 and $2 patrons as well. It is much appreciated, because I've been asked this a lot. I am doing the 2024 Warframe tier list, but I need to get last year's data from whenever DE releases that, which hopefully happens on the January dev stream. But that's what's holding that up, because, that kind of factors into Warframe's getting S ranks or not. But yeah, that's what's going on. And thank you, everybody.